centuries on for.
February 1919. In New York, the return of African American soldiers is a celebration. Their band leader, James Reese Europe, recalls, "Hurrahs were shouted from windows, from roofs, from the street. As the regiment moved along, they were joined by mothers, sweethearts, and brothers." The 369th Regiment was nicknamed the Harlem Hellfighters. The French had pulled them from their deployment on the loading docks and rail lines to fight alongside them, and they had fought heroically. One of the great activists of their cause, Marcus Garvey, proclaims, "We believe the Negro should not be deprived of any of those rights or privileges common to other human beings." President Wilson, however, believes in the segregation of blacks from whites. At the same time, outside the US, he defends the right of peoples to self-determination. Back in the US, he embarks on a long tour to mobilize public opinion in favor of the Treaty of Versailles. Wilson knows that in Washington, the Senate remains deeply reluctant. He knows that voters of German origin are furious about the clauses of the treaty that they find insulting, unfair to their former homeland. Wilson also knows that the Senate is hostile to the founding covenant of the League of Nations. It imposes a mutual defense pact on member states. This could potentially lead to a new American military intervention, which nobody wants. Wilson tries to hold back the tide. He says, "Failure to back the League of Nations would break the heart of the world." Wilson works to the point of exhaustion and suffers a stroke that leaves him paralyzed and mute. What will the US Senate do? If it rejects the Treaty of Versailles and the League of Nations, will peace be possible? While awaiting ratification by the Americans, Europe's most urgent priority is rebuilding. Belgium and Serbia are severely damaged, but in France, the destruction is far worse. The north and east of France are devastated. Stefan Zweig writes, "All the livid steeds of the apocalypse have reared up. Revolution and famine, terror, epidemics, and above all else, that arch-plague, nationalism, which has poisoned our European culture." The war destroyed 1/3 of France's wealth. The numbers are staggering. Of villages wiped off the map, of unexploded shells and landmines, of fields contaminated with toxic gas. The earth must be cleansed of this ocean of poisons. A long and dangerous task, as these farmers in Picardy show, whose fields are littered with shells they must dispose of. In spite of everything, they resume their lives, as they always have in centuries past. The French order German prisoners of war to demine the country, in violation of the Geneva Convention, the international agreement that protects captured forces. There are still 300,000 of these unfortunate men in France. Interned at the horrible Sully camp near Verdun, the German soldier Helmut Koht writes, "I have the impression I'm considered a criminal. Every hour it becomes clearer. The cynicism of the French and their hatred of us. They now want us to pay." 22,105 prisoners die in the ruins, or simply from hunger. But the French suffer too. In the markets, the price of beans and potatoes is 4 times higher than before the war. Rich Americans come to the aid of the French, like the heiress of a large bank, Anne Morgan, who along with Dr. Anne Murray Dyke founded this first NGO, the American Committee for Devastated France. They replant forests destroyed by shells. They transform a chateau into a dispensary. Anne Morgan writes to her mother, "Our work is a joy. We are useful here. These people lived under the German occupation. Their only food was beetroot that is fed to cows. They sleep at night on bare floors in the bitter cold. They are now coming back to life." Six million orphans are adrift in Europe. These Polish children, who miraculously survived the many battles in their homeland, are welcomed to the United States. In Paris, the sparring orphans of Montmartre are spared from misery as the French government makes them wards of the state until they reach adulthood. Russia has untold numbers of orphans, especially after the Civil War. The victory of the communists in 1922 brings the gulags, the concentration camps of Lenin and then Stalin, and so more orphans are thrown into the streets, becoming blatnois, little criminals. Britain has its own urgent problem of orphan delinquents. The solution is radical: a one-way ticket on the first ship to the farms in the wide open spaces of Western Canada. In Ottawa, Member of Parliament J.S. Woodsworth points out, "We are turning children into cheap labourers." Today, 1 in 10 Canadians is a descendant of these displaced children. In a similar vein, the UK begins exporting young women who now cannot find husbands. These so-called surplus women from the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps are headed to Australia. How will the survivors mourn? One of Lithuania's greatest poets, Oskar Miloš, expresses what the parents, widows, and children feel walking through the endless rows of graves marked by the cross, Star of David, or Crescent Moon. He says, "Ah, the dead, the dead, the dead, are at least less dead than I." Many families seek to repatriate their dead to be able to visit their loved one's grave in the local cemetery. But first, the remains must be dug up. Special units of the American Army are filmed carrying out this grim task. 230,000 bodies are returned to their families. In France, where most of the military cemeteries are located, there remain to this day the graves of 700,000 French and colonial soldiers, 750,000 German soldiers, 300,000 British soldiers, including 60,000 Canadians and 34,000 Americans. Everywhere, people tried desperately to get in touch with the spirits of the dead. Spiritualism has been very popular since the 19th century. The high priest of spiritualism of the time is a certain Léon Denis. He writes, "Innumerable legions of souls hover over us, eager to communicate. Those who died in battle seek only to manifest themselves to their loved ones on Earth. Sadly, these seances are just another swindle. To remember the dead, honor them, and unite the people in their memory, every country, every city, every village must have a memorial. They can celebrate heroism in combat, pacifism, or dignified strength. Like this bronze caribou, a tribute to 814 men from Newfoundland, then part of the British Empire, who died serving in the war and who had no known grave. Around the world, sculptors work day and night to fill the thousands of orders for war memorials. London, November 11th, 1920. King George V and his sons, the future sovereigns, begin the first ceremony honoring the unknown soldier. In this coffin lie the remains of an unidentified body, chosen at random to commemorate the 500,000 missing and unburied, and all from the British Empire who died. The French had learned a month earlier that the ceremony was being organized. The government had not planned a similar commemoration, and the press was indignant. A leftist member of parliament recorded a vengeful speech, one of the first filmed with sound.
Prends ta place pour qu'on ne puisse pas reprocher à la patrie que tu as sauvée d'avoir oublié le plus humble de ses pays, c'est le plus glorieux de ses héros. Et pour que les mères qui pleurent et qui ne savent pas où pleurer puissent dire un jour en s'agenouillant devant ta tombe, oh mon petit, peut-être est-ce toi.
France's unknown soldier lies beneath the Arc de Triomphe, with an eternal flame over his grave. Many other countries also adopt this powerful symbol. In Belgium, the Soldier King Albert I turns the dedication into a ceremony of unity for his people. Washington, the 11th of November, 1921. The ceremony for the unknown American soldier is attended by Marshal Ferdinand Foch, the supreme Allied commander at the end of the war. This is the Crow chief, Plenty Coups, who only 30 years earlier had allied with the American army in the tragic Indian Wars against the Sioux Nation. At Arlington National Cemetery near Washington, Plenty Coups presents the unknown soldier with a coup stick, a warrior's weapon of bravery. Foch tells the former commander of American forces in France, General Pershing, "I want to see the tribes of the Wild West." In North Dakota, he meets the Crow Nation's mortal enemy, the Sioux chief Red Tomahawk. A welcoming committee gives him a fur coat and a peace pipe. General Foch is given the name Charging Thunder. In Washington, President Wilson, severely weakened by his stroke, is devastated by a defeat in Congress. The United States refuses to ratify the Treaty of Versailles. The vote reflects American public opinion, which is deeply isolationist. The American people no longer want to get involved in the affairs of others, nor go to war again.
The Mitsubishi Shogun Sport SUV, absorbing life with documentaries on 4.
Welcome to one of Britain's largest pet food manufacturers.
Each one of the slabs is between 10 and 15 kilos.
You don't have to be pet mad to work here.
Hello.
Well, actually you do. As a team of humans and animals perfect the science of making pet food. Britain's giant pet food factory. Thursday at 9 on Channel 4.
Henry Dicer, paperboy, 1904. He married his childhood sweetheart before going to war and appeared in the paper himself, commended for bravery. I didn't know my great-granddad Henry, but now I do.
I wish I'd checked the battery.
I wish I'd checked the instructions.
I wish I'd checked the zip.
It's always better to check it before you chance it. With Quick Check from Capital One, you can check if you'll be accepted for a credit card before you apply, without affecting your credit score. Quick Check. Check it. Don't chance it.
Emma, the mattress awarded Best on Test by Which? Try it out for 100 nights risk-free. Don't worry, sleep happy. Emma, order online now.
Oh, actually, whilst you're up there, will you grab us some fresh batch from Kenya?
Couple of bags?
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah?
Sorry, just need the one. Magic. Off you pop. Ta!
Yorkshire Tea, where everything's done proper.
With Xero accounting software, you can spend less time on your VAT return and more on what you love. Xero. Get making tax digital ready.
Funding Circle offer affordable loans to help your business go further. We're fast, so you won't be waiting around. And you'll get a dedicated account manager to help you on your journey. Rates start from 1.9% per year. So join the thousands of businesses who have taken out a Funding Circle loan and help your business fly. Apply today at fundingcircle.com.
When my IBS flares up, it's a sharp pain like a punch to my stomach. But Buscopan gives me fast relief.
I get this cramping and discomfort with my IBS, like a tight knot.
Buscopan works directly to release the cramps that cause the pain and starts to work within just 15 minutes. Buscopan, UK's #1 choice for IBS relief.
Take the next left. You want to sell this car, don't you? Head for Motorway, the comparison site to sell your car.
You don't have to part exchange or take the first price you find online. With Motorway, it's easy to compare prices from online buyers and specialist dealers. You could get up to £1,000 more. It's the smart way to sell your car fast.
So take the next exit. Motorway, you have reached your destination.
Motorway.co.uk. Compare offers and sell your car now.
At Wren, we price match all appliances against all the major online retailers. And in our summer sale, there's up to an extra 15% off the lowest online price. Hurry, summer sale now on.
This is our new sideboard from Oak Furniture Land. I love this look, which I didn't think they did. Now, guess how much I paid for it? For that price, no brainer.
Oak Furniture Land. No veneer, no chipboard, no compromise.
Don't just book it, Thomas Cook it. At All Protected.
Join George Clark as he shines a light on 100 years of council housing.
You just felt a fantastic sense of pride when you lived here.
Finding out what some of it looks like today.
We don't need accommodation units, we need homes.
And how we can do it better.
So is this what you think of when you think of council housing?
George Clark's Council House Scandal, Wednesday at 9 on Channel 4.
The Mitsubishi Shogun Sport SUV, absorbing life with documentaries on 4.
Typical of this 1920s generation, here is how Zelda Fitzgerald, the young wife of novelist F. Scott Fitzgerald, describes her peers. The flapper awakes from her lethargy of sub-debism, bobs her hair, puts on her choicest pair of earrings and a great deal of audacity and rouge, and goes into battle. She flirts because it is fun to flirt, and wears a one-piece bathing suit because she has a good figure and she refuses to be bored, chiefly because she isn't boring. She is conscious that the things she does are the things she's always wanted to do. But happiness is fragile. By refusing to sign the Treaty of Versailles, the United States has jeopardized Wilson's other dream of the League of Nations. The League, however, has already been established in the country of neutrality, Switzerland, on the shores of Lake Geneva. But without America, will this precursor of the United Nations, assembled from most of the world's countries, be able to keep the peace? The various treaties that follow the Treaty of Versailles will set off endless conflicts. The treaties of Saint-Germain in 1919 and Trianon in 1920 will break up the Austro-Hungarian Empire by creating new nation-states such as a smaller Austria, Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia, and also reshape Hungary and Romania. The famous right of peoples to self-determination has not really been respected. Germans are now in Poland and Czechoslovakia, Hungarians in Romania, Croatians in Yugoslavia. The Austro-Hungarian Empire had held together all these people in relative peace. Similarly, the Ottoman Empire had prevented various Arab tribes from tearing each other apart. But at the Treaty of Sèvres, August 10th, 1920, the Ottoman Empire, severely punished for having supported Germany, is stripped down to the Turkey of today, minus the Greek enclave of the city of Smyrna. The map of the Middle East is redrawn by Britain and France. The French want to expand their colonial territories by taking control of Syria and Lebanon. The British create new countries, Transjordan, now Jordan, Palestine, and crucially, Iraq, giving themselves control of oil production. Wilson had supported the creation of a Kurdish state, and for a few months it did exist before disappearing, swept away by the Turks. In Palestine, the Romans had driven the Jews out of Jerusalem 2,000 years earlier. The Arabs, now 600,000 strong, are less than welcoming to Jewish Zionists who have been fleeing to the Promised Land since the late 19th century to escape persecution in Central Europe and Russia. During the war, the British, like the famous Colonel T.E. Lawrence, seen here at the Treaty of Sèvres talks, made many promises to the Arabs in exchange for their support against the Turks, one being to halt Jewish immigration. But Lawrence of Arabia had been manipulated, and the promises made will not be kept. The British authorized the creation of a Jewish homeland that 3 decades later will become the State of Israel. Its first president, Chaim Weizmann, calls for emigration. He says, "We must make Palestine as Jewish as England is English and America is American." It is the beginning of war without end. In 1920, in a defeated Turkey, in Constantinople, now Istanbul, the situation is tense. The Allies still occupy both the city and part of the country, which is unacceptable to the nationalists and leads to a large-scale insurrection. At its head is General Mustafa Kemal, who in 1915 had resisted a British and French landing in Turkey. This revered officer refuses to accept the Treaty of Sèvres and the loss of the city of Smyrna. He says, if we give in to all the Allied demands, it will be impossible to curb their greedy intentions. Mustafa Kemal raises an army of volunteers, then fights the Allies and Greeks for 2 years to recover the territory they occupy. September the 9th, 1922, his army enters the last stronghold occupied by the Greeks, Smyrna. The city is set on fire. The Turks want to drive out not only the Greeks, but also all non-Muslim minorities, especially the Armenians. Only a lucky few are able to escape and embark for exile in Europe. In Geneva, the League of Nations, though it has failed to put an end to war and slaughter, nonetheless succeeds at rescuing millions of people. Thanks to an extraordinary man, Fridtjof Nansen, a Norwegian polar explorer who became the High Commissioner for Refugees and who will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. He creates the Nansen Passport, a precious document for all those who are stateless, like the painter Marc Chagall and the composer Igor Stravinsky. It enables them to cross borders. 9 million men, women and children become peace refugees. Many of them want to leave for the United States. They all end up at the port of Cherbourg in the north of France, which becomes a bottleneck. The French build the famous Hôtel Atlantique, a transit center for emigrants with its own medical and administrative services. And the long voyage can begin. America has always welcomed the world's castaways, such as the Irish, the Italians, the Jews. On the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty, created by the French sculptor Auguste Bartholdi, are engraved the words of the Jewish poet Emma Lazarus. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. In Montreal, 30,000 Jews demonstrate to draw attention to the fate of those left behind in Ukraine. "100,000 Jews were murdered, trapped in the civil war between the White Russians, the Tsarists, and the Reds, the Communists. After 4 years of fighting, the Reds, the Bolsheviks, eventually prevail because they are even more ruthless than their opponents."
The Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross SUV, absorbing life with documentaries on 4.
Our journey to extraordinary flavor begins here, where our beans evolve into the most astonishingly magnificent coffee since the dawn of time. Drinking in caramel aromas, berry undertones, and other wondrous wonders. Also Will, stood in his wife's dressing gown, can say, "Flippin' heck, that's decent."
Flippin' heck, that's decent.
Taylors of Harrogate, extraordinary flavor.
At Wren, we price match all our appliances against all the major online retailers. And in our summer sale, we're going even further with up to 15% off the lowest online price. Visit Wren Kitchens to get your free design package worth £200.
Whilst you flick through the social medias during the ad break, yes, you, Otto Sergey could be finding you a better energy deal. Otto Sergey, now with Energy Check.
And last weekend in Amsterdam was great, although I thought the place was a bit expensive.
That's strange. I got quite a good deal on the hotel.
Seriously? You think £200 a night is a good deal?
What? No, I never spent that on a hotel.
Well, how did you do it then?
Well, with Trivago, you can search for the hotel you want, select the dates, and Trivago will compare prices from hundreds of websites worldwide to find the ideal hotel for you.
Do I know you?
Hotel.
Trivago.
Hotel Trivago.
At least eating fish is easy. John West No Drain Tuna. Now you can peel it, reseal it, and pop it in the fridge.
We gave new, even softer Andrex Classic Clean and Washlets to the Plowright family to try.
I use the dry, followed by the washlets, and it's amazing. It's really, really soft. A lot softer than we're used to.
How clean and fresh did Andrex make you feel?
To the only one.
I feel as clean as a baked bean on a surfboard. Well, I feel as clean as a mermaid in an ice rink.
Ooh, that's very clean.
For a superior feeling of clean, try the Andrex Clean Routine. How Andrex do you feel?
From the start, your baby trusts you completely. So wrap them in the nappy named Which Best Buy. Pampers Premium Protection is feather soft with up to 12 hours of dryness. Pampers helps your baby feel dry, secure and protected. Pampers Premium Protection. New Corsadil Complete Protection. If you see traces of blood when you brush, do you choose a toothpaste for healthy gums or strong teeth? You don't have to choose. New Complete Protection from Corsadil has 8 specially designed benefits for healthy gums and strong teeth. New Complete Protection from Corsadil.
Philip Schofield here. If, like me, you value your free time, then sell your car with WeBuyAnyCar.com. Sure, you might get a bit more money selling privately, but do you really need all that extra hassle? Wouldn't you rather get on with your day, like I'm doing here? To find out how much your car's worth in 60 seconds, enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Hello, Sky.
Open Netflix.
Open Spotify.
Let's go! Go to catch up.
Listato.
Walter presents a new Italian crime drama, Thou Shalt Not Kill. Starts Friday the 9th of August on More 4.
The Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross SUV, absorbing life with documentaries on 4.
December 22nd, 1922. Russia becomes the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the USSR. A massive portion of the planet becomes communist. The USSR's entire economy has collapsed. The harvest had been requisitioned to feed the troops. Its first great famine in 1922 leaves 5 million dead. Humanitarian aid pours in from all over the world. A member of the American Relief Administration, who will save thousands of lives, William Shafroth, recounts, people have been reduced to eating weeds mixed with ground bones, tree bark, and clay, as well as horses, dogs, cats, rats, and the straw from roofs. I see emaciated little skeletons with gaunt faces and toothpick legs. Every day a dozen of them die. The stench is nauseating. At the end of the Civil War, 1.5 million Russians escaped the country. 400,000 white Russians settled in Nice on the French Riviera, or Paris in well-to-do neighborhoods. Those who have escaped with their fortunes can live like kings, and indeed they do. Prince Yusupov, one of the assassins of Rasputin, the shadowy advisor of Tsar Nicholas II, writes, "How can one not feel confident in Paris, which knows well how to lift a stranger's spirits with a smile?" The prince has a lover, the young Grand Duke Dmitri, who is himself living with the already famous fashion designer, Coco Chanel. When she decides to launch her perfume, Chanel No. 5, Dmitri convinces her to adopt for its bottle the shape of the vodka flasks used by Russian officers. But it's not just the rich aristocrats who remain steeped in their devotion to the last Tsar. Yusupov notes in his memoirs, "Everywhere one sees Russian businesses springing up, restaurants, shops, new Orthodox churches with their schools and retirement homes. Paris is becoming a natural destination for immigrants." The Tsar's generals and former officers of the Imperial Guard have no skills beyond the military, but they can drive, and so become taxi drivers. They will long be part of Parisian folklore. The last will retire in 1970, at the age of 92. White Russians, like this taxi driver, watch with concern the spread of Soviet influence in the world. Exorbitant wartime spending has led to deep social tensions. People everywhere are joining communist parties with their vision of common prosperity in London, Berlin, New York, Milan, and Rome. The Italian communist leader, Antonio Gramsci, returns from Moscow and takes his place as an early Marxist theoretician. He says, "To live is to be partisan." Opposing the communists, war veterans initially band together behind a fiery poet, a war hero, Gabriele D'Annunzio. He has denounced the Treaty of Versailles because in redrawing the map of Europe, the Allies have handed to Yugoslavia territories populated by Italians, including Dalmatia and the city of Fiume. Gabriele D'Annunzio laments, "Our victory has been mutilated." He launches his militia, proclaiming, "Italy, your hour has come. Wonderful years. I hear the thunder of eagles, which, with their talons, tear up the night." Gabriele D'Annunzio is able to seize the city of Fiume. The regular army drives him out, but respectfully. For the communist Gramsci, this tragicomedy is yet another sign of the decadence of the bourgeois state. He says, "The old world is dying, the new world struggles to be born, and in this twilight, monsters suddenly appear." That monster is Benito Mussolini. His wife, Raquel, writes, "His eyes were phosphorescent, his gaze piercing. His pupils seemed to flash lightning. He knew that his eyes held incredible power over everyone." Mussolini began his career as a socialist journalist. he became a nationalist during the war. In 1919, he created the fascist movement named after his Fasci di Combattimento, fighting squads. Mussolini rides on the prestige of Gabriele D'Annunzio, copying everything: the black shirts, the Roman salute, the raised dagger, and the cry, "A noi, to us, to us." But Gabriele D'Annunzio had 2,500 men in 1919. Mussolini has 300,000 in 1922. With his populist slogans, Mussolini unites veterans, war invalids, the unemployed, the middle class, and even the feeble-minded who have trouble making the fascist salute. And all the underclass who, after their street fights, write on their bandages, "Me ne frego," I don't care. Mussolini promises to restore social order. He gives his squads a weapon, a wooden cane to beat the communists, and set fire to their houses of the people. Mussolini says, "I will restore discipline in the factories," which pleases the big industrialists like Agnelli, the founder of Fiat, and Pirelli, the tire manufacturer. Mussolini organizes on October 28, 1922, a show of force pompously called the March on Rome. He himself arrives in comfort on the train from Milan. He has exchanged his black shirt for a suit and tie, meant to be more statesmanlike in the midst of his fascist henchmen. King Victor Emmanuel III hands him the reins of power, much to the misfortune of the Italian people. Supported by the church, Mussolini makes clever use of propaganda and fills concentration camps with his opponents, ushering in an authoritarian, anti-communist regime. In 1923, German veterans also unite around their wartime leader, General Ludendorff, who now supports the leader of the Nazi Party, Adolf Hitler. Hitler says, "Our people are subject to such misery that if we do not act now, they will join the communists." The Allies will assist Hitler through a series of blunders. Like the Belgian and French occupation of Germany's Ruhr mining region, where coal is seized in forced reparations, which leads to an economic crisis and staggering inflation. With banknotes being printed as fast as possible, the currency depreciates at an unimaginable rate. A loaf of bread costs 460 billion marks. A 13-year-old German girl, Irma Lang, recounts, "When our father comes home with the day's wages, we rush right out to spend it. Otherwise, in no time, it will be worthless." Between the Germans of the Ruhr and the French and Belgian occupiers, tension is rising. On March 10, 1923, a French officer strikes German onlookers who failed to remove their hats for the funeral cortege of a victim of an attack. Amid such instability, Hitler tries to seize power on November the 9th, 1923. But the army and police remain loyal to the German Republic, and the putsch fails. Hitler is imprisoned. For now. Stefan Zweig speaks for many when he writes, "In this year, 1923, the swastikas have disappeared, the stormtroopers and the name of Adolf Hitler have all fallen into oblivion." But Zweig is terribly wrong. From his cell, Hitler will prepare his revenge. He writes his book, Mein Kampf, My Struggle, a screed against the Treaty of Versailles and France.
The Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid, absorbing life with documentaries on 4.
This is food freedom. The freedom to order the same thing every Saturday night. To change your dinner plans. I'm vegan. To be too busy to cook. Order what you want, where you want, when you want. Deliveroo. Food freedom.
Are your old freestanding wardrobes a waste of space? Then let us help you uncover the hidden space in your bedroom. Sharp's fitted wardrobes stretch from wall to wall and floor to ceiling, are perfectly fitted to the contours of your room, and come with tailored storage solutions, giving you up to twice the storage space of freestanding wardrobes. Trust Sharp's to create beautifully organised space. Our half-price sale is now on. Call or click for your nearest showroom or free home design visit.
At WeBuyAnyCar.com, you could find out how much your car's worth in under 60 seconds. Enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
I want to be a writer. Writing isn't a job.
Thank me later.
Inspired by the words of Bruce Springsteen.
It's like Bruce knows everything I've ever felt. He's what your dad listens to, not my dad.
Don't miss the feel-good movie of the year.
I hope to build a bridge to my ambitions, but not a wall between my family and me.
Blinded by the Light in cinemas August 9.
Open Table. With millions of verified diner reviews, Open Table helps you discover the right restaurant for you. Reserve your table on Open Table.
I got an idea for a Heinz ketchup commercial. I was at this super posh restaurant. The food comes, but there's just something missing. So I reach into my bag, and at that point, the whole world came to a stop. No. So that's my idea. Do you want to do it?
Come on!
Oh, come on, Sergey, keep up! Oleg?
I say Sergey!
Oleg! Bring your family together with Meerkat Meals and Meerkat Movies, all in the Meerkat app.
Okay, so comedy.
No.
Action comedy.
No way.
Animated action comedy. Critically acclaimed dramas about dogs, sequels of remakes, remakes of prequels, reality shows about geese.
Shall we just go to the pub for a Gordon's and tonic?
Absolutely, let's do that instead.
Gordon's. Shall we?
I wish I'd checked the battery.
I wish I'd checked the instructions.
I wish I'd checked the zip.
It's always better to check it before you chance it. With Quick Check from Capital One, you can check if you'll be accepted for a credit card before you apply, without affecting your credit score. Quick Check. Check it. Don't chance it.
At Wren, we price match all appliances against all the major online retailers. And in our summer sale, there's up to an extra 15% off the lowest online price. Hurry, summer sale now on.
series, Savage Kingdom, coming soon to More 4.
The Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid, absorbing life with documentaries on 4.
The totalitarian menace is real. In Spain, General Primo de Rivera, also inspired by Mussolini, seizes power on September 23, 1923, and establishes a dictatorship. This military coup d'etat delights an ambitious officer, Francisco Franco. Noted for his discipline and ferocity, Franco, at 33, will become the youngest general in Europe and the next dictator of Spain. In 1921, he is one of the leaders of the Spanish Foreign Legion, responsible for maintaining order in the Rif, an area of Morocco controlled by Spain. The French dominate the rest of the country. During the World War, in the iron mines of the region, Moroccans were forced to work beyond exhaustion to supply French munitions factories. The Moroccan people rebel against this exploitation. A nationalist leader emerges in the Arab world. His name is Abdelkrim. He's a well-read scholar, about 50 years old. He has successfully unified the Berber tribes around him. He begins by inflicting a crushing defeat on the Spanish at the Battle of Anual on July 21st, 1921. "20,000 Spaniards are defeated by the Rif tribesmen. 13,000 of them are killed or wounded. The survivors retreat in chaos. The French intervene to fight alongside the Spaniards. Is this the beginning of the end of colonization? The Rif War foreshadows all the horrors of the future. Here, a Moroccan soldier has beheaded his rebel brother. There is an escalation of atrocities on both sides. The French and Spanish use every weapon in their arsenal, including aerial attacks. Some bombs are loaded with the same horrific mustard gas used by the Germans in 1917. Landing their forces behind enemy lines and advancing with tanks, they finally defeat Abdelkrim. He surrenders to the French on May 27th, 1926. His surrender is filmed for movie house newsreels, which seek to reassure viewers, proclaiming his elderly father and his family placed themselves under the protection of the victors. The Rif War will become the inspiration for every subsequent war of decolonization in Africa and around the world. It also marks a decisive turning point. From now on, the world will be structured around a new fault line. People had lost their religious bearings and their identity during the war. They will find new meaning, a new project, a vocation in political engagement. 1926. Fascist fever rises everywhere, like here in Britain. Communist fever also rises everywhere, even in New York. The United States tries to expel its communists. They will be given a one-way ticket to the homeland of socialism, on this boat renamed the Soviet Ark. In addition to the Red Scare, Americans are dealing with prohibition. By banning alcohol, conservatives hope to impose morality on a society at full roar. And so begins the wild pursuit of smugglers of every type of alcohol, distilled in Canada or at home. American police resort to all the means at their disposal to destroy the contraband. Prohibition is a boon for the Italian-American mafia, now strengthening its grip on America. Al Capone takes center stage in the history of gangsterism. Americans are giddy with life. The rhythms of jazz give rise to new dances like the Charleston. They want to forget everything. They don't want to have to think anymore. The American writer John Dos Passos predicts the 20th century will be American. American thought will dominate it. American progress will give it color and direction. The regeneration of the world, physical as well as moral, has begun, and revolutions never move backwards. Jazz has crossed the Atlantic. In Paris, Josephine Baker sets the tone. When the French writer Jean Cocteau first sees her, he exclaims, "Eroticism has just found its style." These are the roaring 20s of Montmartre and Montparnasse. Ernest Hemingway's Paris memoir, A Movable Feast, will be his last book. He writes, "Living in Paris is like having a great treasure given to you." In Berlin, too, the rhythms of the Charleston echo everywhere. Stefan Zweig writes in his book, The World of Yesterday, as the value of money dwindled, all other values began to crumble. It was a time of high ecstasy, a singular mixture of unrest and fanaticism. Everything that was extravagant and uncontrollable experienced a golden age. In the madness of these post-war years, some want to feel alive, to bury once and for all the memory of disaster and death. Others will wait for Hitler to put an end to the Treaty of Versailles by rearming Germany. Financial crises will weaken democracies, and another world war, which once seemed unthinkable, then a distinct threat, could become inevitable. And yet, after November 11th, 1918, people everywhere proved their tremendous capacity to start living again. Will they know how to fight to ensure that the next war will finally be the last? And will they be able to keep the peace?